I want to reconvene our City Council meeting for the April 7th, 2014. Thank you. We'll have a large crowd and a lot of young people with us from Freedom High School, and we'll try to get y'all out of here as soon as we can, but we've got to do a few little preliminary things. At this time, I'd like to ask Forrest Fleming to lead us with our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated.
This time I'd like to call on Reverend Laura Elliott, Associate Pastor of the First United Methodist Church. Lead us with our invocation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I am privileged to be before you this evening on behalf of my senior pastor, Dr. John Fowler, and our congregation. Thank you for asking me. And also, I'm pleased to be here with my friends from Circles.
That's what I was going to mention to you. Thank you.
Our church has been very involved in that, so I'm delighted to be here with them. Let us pray. We'll begin with a brief silence, which is the language of God, so that we may remember those who have gone before us and center ourselves to listen for the language of God, that still, small voice. Our God, who is called by many names, Yahweh, Jehovah, Jesus the Christ, Allah, Dios, the great and Holy Spirit, by all the names we call you, we call upon you now to be with us together in this place and in this time. We thank you for your generous blessings upon our community of Morganton and Burke County, and for the amazing history and heritage that we enjoy. As we continue to chart our course into the future, help us to be always mindful of those upon whose shoulders we stand. Please be with your servants this night, our mayor and city council, granting them wisdom and courage in their leadership. And bless all those who work for the city of Morganton, who provide and protect, who serve and save, who labor in our streets and in many of our byways and buildings, who ensure that the machinery of our daily lives goes smoothly. We thank you for all in our community, teachers and social workers, so many who sacrifice for others. And across our community and our many religious congregations, when we come together to worship and then to depart and serve you. Oh God, we do the work of the people. Likewise, government and politics should be the work of the people. So bless the deliberations of this body this evening. Help them to make good and right decisions, and help all of us to understand how difficult those decisions often are. We are grateful to you, O God, for our rights and freedoms, that we have the privilege of freely participating in our own self-government and speaking our truth to those in power. Let us never take this for granted, nor those who have bought our rights with their sacrifice around the world and right here at home in our own streets. And remind us, with great freedom comes great responsibility. So let us also be inclined to be a voice for those who have no voice. And to remember that there are many who go hungry and hurting and homeless in our community at this very hour. Help all of us to strive in everything we do for the common good, and to ever recognize that our great strength is in our great diversity. Remind us to pull together, knowing that each of us is a child of God, and as such has gifts to offer, even when they may seem hidden. Help us to look out for one another, knowing that it is loving our neighbor that we often show our love for you, O God. And we pray that you will bring about, in whatever way we say it, peace. Salem, shalom, Salem, paz, peace. And I pray all these things in the name of the one who comes. Amen.
Amen. Pastor, I want to tell you that was a wonderful invocation, particularly after our early part of this program. So we thank you very much. Introduction of our city council. On my far right is Ronnie Thompson, city councilman, Forrest Fleming, city councilman, Louis Vina, our attorney, Mel Coyne, I'm your mayor, Sally Sandy, city manager, Sidney Simmons, City Councilman, John Cantrell, City Councilman, Kelly Russell, Recording Secretary, and Joy Hearn Guzman, interpreting for our deaf community. Thank you again for a great crowd and for all of our young people from the great Freedom High School. Retirees, Burnett, Bud, if you would come to the podium up here. But I'm going to read a resolution honoring you, Lawrence R. Bud Burnett. Whereas Lawrence R. Bud Burnett was employed by the City of Morganton as Laborer 1 in the Recreation Department on May 19th, 1994. Promoted to Laborer 2 in the Recreation Department on December 28, 1995. Promoted to Maintenance Crew Leader in the Recreation Department on July 1, 2004. And whereas Lawrence R. Bud Burnett has faithfully served the City of Morganton in the Recreation Department and has given of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of Morganton for 20 years and 1 month. And whereas Lawrence R. Bud Burnett retired from the City of Morganton as Maintenance Crew Leader in the Recreation Department on April 1, 2014, and whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Lawrence R. Bud Burnett and express their appreciation for a job well done. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Morganton, the Mayor present this resolution to Lawrence R. Bud Burnett, adopted this the 7th day of April 2014. Mel Cohen, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Make this form of motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bud, seen you around a long time. It's going to be hard not to see you anymore.
Well, I'll have some fun. So
Are you going to come back and help Gary?
I'll come back and see them.
Anything you want to say, you don't have to, but anything you want to say, you're welcome to. Here are 2 checks, and we'll meet afterwards and we'll split it, okay? Anything you want to say?
I appreciate the privilege that you give me to come to work for you, and the opportunity, things I've learned, and the good people I've met doing it, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bud. God bless you. We have a resolution honoring and retired Luca, a canine assigned to the Morganton Department of Public Safety. You want to read it? Yeah, okay, I'm going to read it. He's not here tonight. He, she, whatever. Whereas Police Canine Luca has faithfully served the Morganton Department of Public Safety since he was placed into service in November 2005. And whereas Luca began his assignment with Public Safety Officer Bob Spangler, whereupon his resignation, Luca was assigned to PSO Scott Lanning. And whereas Luca has maintained certification by Eastern States Working Dog Association in the following areas: obedience, narcotic detection, tracking, area search, and article search apprehension. Whereas Luca has assisted in the location of several missing juveniles and elderly persons. And whereas Luca has rendered a valuable service to the Morganton Department of Public Safety along with the community in which he served. And whereas Luca has performed his canine responsibilities as a professional police dog with the highest standards. And whereas Luca is approaching 10 years of service and is beginning to show some health issues, and with this and veterinarian advice, Canine Luca is recommended for retirement. Whereas Section 160A-260D of the North Carolina General Statutes provides in pertinent part that a city may discard any personal property that poses a potential threat to the public health or safety. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Morganton as follows. Section 1, Police Canine Luca is hereby retired from service, declared to be surplus property, and deemed to pose a potential threat to the public health and safety if not provided with proper care and management subsequent to the transfer of the city's ownership interest in Luca. The city's ownership interest in Luca and all of the equipment associated with him, that's the lead, harness, water bowls, and training equipment, together with all awards, meritorious citations, and other honors, is hereby transferred to Public Safety Officer William Miller, free and clear of any purchase price or transfer fee of any kind, in consideration of and on the condition that Public Safety Officer Miller assumed full responsibility for providing adequate shelter, care, and supervision of Luca for the remainder of Luca's life without any funding and or other assistance from the city. This resolution was adopted by the Morganton City Council in open session during a regular meeting held on the 7th day of April. Mel Cohen, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk, making this form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Service pen. Bennett Chapman. Bennett. 20 years. Waste treatment. Thank you for your job. Well done. Got a lot of money we invested in your waste treatment. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Look forward to seeing you 25th. Public advocacy issues and strategies. There's several things I want to talk about before I get to the freedom team. I must tell you that the last 30 days have been unbelievable in our world. And you know, when Larry Weston was on the city council, he and I used to joke about the soapbox that I get on. And Larry used to get on it sometimes too and talk, and this mayor used to get on it a lot. But I want to start off by talking about the untimely death of 38-year-old U.S. Forest Ranger Jason Crisp and his canine partner, Maris. And also, during that episode, Levi and Rhonda Wisnett, caregivers. Rhonda was a caregiver out at Grace Heights and did a fabulous job with my mother-in-law and a lot of people that she came in contact with. This was an unusual time in our county's history. Not a good thing to happen, of course, as we know, but I will tell you that our public safety department with our chief were out there and helped in the search, and people in this government here also helped change the mind of a assistant principal out at McDowell High School to allow the family to have a full half day for the funeral of Jason Crisp and his canine partner. That was a tough day, and it started off very early for a lot of people and a lot of tragedy. And I just want you to know that Morganton government and Morganton Public Safety played a vital role in the apprehension and the death of the person that got involved and was on drugs and so on. I'm not going to go on any further on that part of it, but anyway, thank you, Chief, for what y'all did. Also, the Malaysian Flight 370. It's still in the news, and we're talking about it every day. It's an unbelievable event. I know everybody in this room, I'm sure, have heard one report or another, and mysteriously the vanishing of the jetliner with 280 some odd people on board. It's very tragic. And then another event. All this is within the last 30 days. This is what makes it very difficult to bring up, because we don't see this much happen negatively in our world. But at Fort Hood, the largest military base in the world for our U.S., another tragic shooting where 3 people died, not counting the person that wielded the gun. 16 people were hurt. This is another tragedy with people that are somewhat deranged, where it's the same way with the young fellow that shot all these people up on the Fish Hatchery Road, and what happened possibly on Flight 370. I'm speculating. And here at Fort Hood, again, another episode that a person that just was not clear-headed. Also, this has nothing to do with what I've mentioned a minute ago, but 33 people died in the mudslide in the state of Washington. Very tragically, there are 13 people still missing. We are just experiencing in 30 days a lot of tragedy in our world, and it's a shame, but this is the first time I've ever had to do this many episodes that in a city council meeting, and I want to wish all the families whatsoever involved throughout all these episodes that I've mentioned our prayers and condolences for the deceased, because it's been a very tragic month. Now, there is good news. We have a group of young men and adults that are with us today that have brought great honor to Burke County and the city of Morganton. I must tell you that Main Street program did a parade for them, and I want to thank that department for jumping up and quickly putting one together. But before I ask Coach Rogers to come, well, actually, Coach, you can come to the microphone and your players can get around you, because I'm going to read a resolution. There's a lot of things have happened to y'all, actually, and to you, Coach, since we did the resolution. But I will tell you that yeah, I'll talk about you in just a few minutes with all of your accolades, and also we have Mr. Logan that had some accolades to him, but the whole team has put together a season that is unbelievable in the history. But you come from history, and we're quite proud of you and your family and the team and your assistant coaches that are in the back of the room. I'm going to read the resolution honoring the Freedom High School Patriots boys basketball team. Whereas the 2013-14 Freedom High School boys basketball team enjoyed one of the most successful seasons by winning a record 31 games. And whereas the Patriot boys highlighted their season by winning the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A State Championship. And whereas the hard work of the members of the Patriot boys team and their commitment to teamwork and fair play represents the very best qualities of high school athletics. And whereas Coach Casey Rogers was a player on the last Freedom State Championship team in 1997 and 1998 season, coached by his father, Terry Rogers. And whereas Coach Rogers followed in his father's footsteps and guided the Freedom High School boys basketball team for 8 years with over 150 coaching victories. And whereas Patriot fans and supporters joined the Freedom High School boys basketball team, Coach Casey Rogers and his staff, in celebrating their successful season and the state championship. Therefore, in recognition of outstanding sports achievement, and on behalf of the entire city of Morganton, the City Council of the City of Morganton resolves that the Freedom High School boys basketball team, the staff and coaches, be congratulated for their outstanding championship season, and especially for their sportsmanship. And for that, Wednesday, April 9th, 2014, be proclaimed Freedom High School Boys Basketball Team Day in the city of Morganton. Throughout, I want to say and urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the teamwork and effort put forth by the 2013-14 Freedom Patriot Boys Basketball Team, issued under the hand and seal of Mel Cohen, Mayor, as a permanent record of this occasion. And on April 7th, 2014, Mel Cohen, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Casey, I want to mention this to you, but Gabe Logan, and in a newspaper Monday, April 7th, Gabe received an honor as Player of the Year. We're backing up what we've talked about in the resolution. You've received several honors, but the senior guard has already claimed Burke County's Player of the Year by the News Herald and was named 3A West Regional MVP and was Freedom's 3A State Championship Game Most Outstanding Player. It goes on and on for him. But for you, you have received as we know, the AP Coach of the Year. That is unbelievable. And we're so proud of y'all and so proud of your team and your assistant coaches. I want to bring this and present it to you. And remember now, Wednesday is y'all's day in Morganton, but you can't get caught speeding. Don't get caught speeding, because I'll get the first phone call. Okay.
Or skip school, or not attend class, or...
Real quickly, I really just want to turn the attention to these guys again. they've represented themselves, them families, Freedom High School, Freedom Men's Basketball, City of Morganton, Burke County, with just the utmost class. And we talk a lot of times about family, and this was one of those opportunities that we were really fortunate in, that we were able to do a special thing with special people. And they're a great group of guys. We're surrounded by a great group of, like you said, a coaching staff, our principal, our families, the school, and we were just really appreciative and grateful for all the support we received. And there's no doubt in my mind that as great as this state championship was, the guys behind me are going to go on and do a lot better things and be very productive members of society because of the people they are. So thank you again.
Thank you. Let me say something to you as a side issue. This has nothing to do with your championship, but the family at UNC Chapel Hill, the family is coming to an end very shortly. And I'd like to see you send your resume and a letter to Coach Roy and the AD, because we would love to have you and some of your players to go to Chapel Hill. Thank you, Casey. All are welcome to leave, and we'll wait a second. Mr. Principal, thank you very much for being here tonight with your. Y'all are welcome to leave. Yes, sir. Thank y'all. God bless you. There are many good things that happen in this community, contrary to what some people say. And I must tell you that I was born here, and I came back here because I know what Morganton is and what has become. And I must tell you that I have told the press, I've told Charlotte, that this so-called survey that came out from Gallup, which is a noted company, but the guy that did this up in New York City in his skyscraper didn't come to Catawba, Caldwell, and Burke County. Didn't come. They did it on the phone with 600 people out of 300,000. So you figure it, and you can put your arithmetic to it. Okay.
I'll introduce the dogs now.
Oh yeah, where are the dogs? Yeah, we've got some.
I hear 'em.
We've got some introduction of our new canine officers and canines in Morganton for public safety.
Captain Loudermilk's going to do
Captain.
Look at him.
Oh man.
We'll bring them on up here to the front.
Be nice to them guys out there now.
Yeah,
Steve.
that's the sheriff. Yeah, check that guy out.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Good evening. My name is Captain Loudermilk. I work in Field Operations Division, and I supervise the Morganton's K-9 program. Morganton Public Safety has had a K-9 program for close to 20 years now, and the success of this program can be directly contributed to the hard work and dedication of our K-9 officers that we've had in the past and we have currently. But also, the program wouldn't be possible without the support and confidence of the City Council, the City Manager and her staff over the years in supporting our K-9 program. There's 4 K-9 handlers, 1 per platoon for the public safety. And recently, we've had 2 long-standing K-9 officers step down as K-9 handlers to pursue other ventures within public safety. With them stepping down, it opened up 2 positions for 2 other officers to have the opportunity to be K-9 handlers. And after a selection process was completed, 2 officers were chosen. Let me introduce our newest 2 K-9 handlers and their dogs, and the first female K-9 handlers at public safety in the last 20 years. On my left is Officer Felicia Ennis and her K-9 partner, Chemo, and Officer Stacy Huffman and her K-9 partner, Shrek.
Oh. That's awesome.
These officers recently completed over 200 hours of certification through the North American Police Work Dog Association. The officers and their K-9 partners had to be certified in various disciplines, from obedience control, article search, K-9 tracking and trailing for missing elderly persons or children or suspects, building searches, aggression control and apprehension, narcotics detection, where they can detect marijuana, heroin, ecstasy, cocaine, crack cocaine, and methamphetamines. And the officers also have to do numerous public demonstrations and events and work in our public schools in the city and the county. These officers also have to maintain 16 hours a month of in-service training to maintain the industry standard and to maintain their certification. So as you can see, that takes a lot of dedication and hard work to maintain those standards. The K-9s are with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so they don't get any days off with them. They go home with them and reside at the residence with them. Both of these officers here have the desire, the drive, and determination to be successful K-9 handlers, and I think both will represent the City of Morganton and public safety as true professionals.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, officers. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Or ladies, whatever. Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all being here.
It's awesome.
You bet.
Thank y'all
Thank
very much.
Our very good sheriff, Steve Wisnett. Steve, you're on. And I know you've got another date to make, and it's about prescription drug abuse.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and everyone on the council. Some of the things you said is a good segue to what I want to talk about, but I would like to just take the opportunity to say I was very proud of the Freedom High boys basketball team. I had the honor of leading them from the county line to Freedom High School, and the last time I was in that line, my daughter was on the 2002 state championship team. The girls won the state championship, so
Very good.
Freedom's got a great history, and I was there when Casey was on the team that won the state championship. One of the other things that you mentioned was Morganton Department of Public Safety's assistance with our man hunt with Jason Crisp, and I too would like to thank Morganton Public Safety. That's one of the things that we work so well together in this county. Officers come together and will assist each other, and I did ask for Morganton Department of Public Safety's K-9 team, and they sent them immediately, and they had plans to send officers for the second phase of that manhunt, so I too want to thank the officers that came for that. A couple of things that you said is so true about substance abuse, and that's what I want to spend just a few minutes to share with you. I've been in about 35 churches. I've been to most of the civic groups. I'm talking to all the groups that I can have an opportunity to, because substance abuse is driving crime, and I want to just share some of that information with you by sharing some statistics. It's changed, and I've been in law enforcement 36 years. I started at the sheriff's office when I was 20. I went to federal law enforcement when I was 29, retired from federal law enforcement, came back, and was appointed sheriff June of 2011. The difference in substance abuse today than what it was 36 years ago is pretty dramatic, and that's what I wanted to share with you and some of the things that we're doing in law enforcement to try to reduce substance abuse. Let me share just a few stats to make my point. The SBI has a diversion and environmental crimes unit. Last year they shared with us that they had saw a 400% increase in drug-related cases in the past 5 years. Now that's where people are using prescription drugs. Primarily they're diverting them for illegal use. 80% increase for the last 5 years. Project Lazarus is a group that I've come to work with and train with, and it's a wonderful organization that several years ago they saw what we're facing here in Burke County and as well as in North Carolina, but they saw a tremendous number of overdose deaths in their county. Not only did they lead the counties in North Carolina, they were one of the top counties in the nation for drug overdose deaths. They shared some stats with us, and these are from last year, but let me share these to make my point. Burke County led our region in drug overdose deaths in 2000 through 2010. We had 191 deaths. Per capita, we have more than double the state average of deaths in 2008 through 2010. Per capita, Burke County led the region in drug-related emergency department visits in 2011. And per capita, Burke County has led the region in outpatient prescriptions that were prescribed in 2010 through 2011. And one stat that I heard on Channel 9, this was March 4th of this past year, and I heard this stat and read it in many other areas, many other locations, but it says drug overdoses have now surpassed car crashes as the number one cause of accidental deaths. That is a sobering statistic when you realize how many people are driving cars and how many car wrecks we have, yet drug overdoses are killing more people than car accidents. Associated Press shared this statistic. Drug overdose deaths rose for the 11th straight year, federal data show, and most of them were accidents involving addictive painkillers despite growing attention to the risk from these medications. And then two quotes from two major treatment providers in the United States. Between North Carolina and New York, there's a national prescription drug epidemic, and that was the largest treatment provider in Pennsylvania. And then last, my biggest concern is the number of high schoolers and young adults that are getting involved in prescription opiates and then transfer very quickly over to heroin. This is true in the Northeast corridor. Of course, that's our geography where we're at in North Carolina. So when I started reading these stats, I became very concerned about what substance abuse was doing to our community, to our county, to our cities. And really the impetus for me to start speaking out was we arrested 13 people for 55 property crimes in a few weeks period. This occurred about a year and a half ago. And I remember talking to the detectives, and I said, how many of those people were substance abusers? And they said 100%. I can tell you that was the impetus for me to start doing something about reaching out and educating the public. And so I came up with this four-step approach, and it was what law enforcement can do is 1, 2, education, 3, treatment, and 4, reaching out to the faith-based community about what they could do. And that's what I've been doing. And when I'm speaking in a church, I speak about 45 minutes. I'm just going to take a couple more minutes just to share some brief other things with you. But I think it's important for us to realize what we're facing with substance abuse. Now, when you talked about the homicide, our last 2 murders were directly a result from drug abuse. In fact, the one before the Wisnitz murder and Chris murder, the guy, when we were walking him from the patrol car to the magistrate's office, Channel 3 was there. Steve Onosorge asked him, why did he do that? And he said, it's all about the drugs. When we were investigating the Wisnitz homicide, we saw evidence of substance abuse where he was staying. So we see it over and over. Our last 4 of our 5 armed robberies in the county was substance abuse. Not only did they not even take money, the last 2, they stole drugs, bypassed the cash register, went for drugs. So that's some of the statistics and the reason that I'm so committed to reaching as many people as I can. So I thank you for the opportunity to come. But law enforcement has a role to play. We have to educate the public too. 3 is treatment. And when I am speaking to groups of people, I bring a list of treatment providers and any kind of organization that can reach out. Many times, and this happens pretty regularly, almost on a daily basis, somebody is calling me, a parent, a grandparent, a spouse, about someone in their home abusing drugs. I've even had offenders themselves sit across from me with tears in their eyes, saying the only thing that they think about is getting high. That's their entire life. So I think it's important for us to understand what's going on and do everything that we can. So through these 4 different steps, I'm just asking the City Council to be aware of this, to reach out in any way that you can. And one of the things I'm trying to do is to take a preventative approach. You know, law enforcement's usually on the post end of it after something happens when we get involved. So I'm trying to be as preventative as we can, and I'm trying to create a professionally produced video and target it toward the middle school. And my goal is to have people speak on camera about how substance abuse has directly impacted their lives. Now, I've talked to many of them. Now, it's hard for people to get on camera and say that, but I'm trying to get about 25 people, submit that to a producer, and try to get a video that we can reach out where our children can see Burke County people, not somebody in Miami or L.A. or New York, Burke County people sharing what substance abuse has done in their lives. So you'll have the opportunity to partner with me as I start to get this information together. But I just thought it was very important for the city councils, our leaders in the county to realize what we're facing, I think we can make a dramatic impact on substance abuse, but it's going to take us all working together. So thank you so much for the opportunity to come and share that, and I will be available for anything that I can do or share with you.
Steve,
I'm a
thank
phone
you.
call away.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being
Thank you.
sheriff. Burke County, thank you a lot. I want to give Ronnie Thompson a chance to do the proclamation in honor of the 10th anniversary of the Morganton Little League All-Star winning the district, state, regional, and qualifying for the World Series in Williamsport. Ronnie will be with us and the whole city council, hopefully, the night we go down to the Little League. I think it's April 28th. Is Gary still in here?
It's April 28th.
Yeah, April 28th at about 5 o'clock in the evening at Catawba Meadows, and we'll all be out there, but Ronnie's going to read the proclamation. Ronnie?
Thank you, Mayor. It's a proclamation celebrating the 10th anniversary of the 2004 Morganton Little League All-Stars. Whereas in 2004, the Morganton Little League All-Star team, consisting of team members Aaron Attaway, Andrew Biscuit Martin, Chris Fine, Dakota Spees, Eli Lawson, Lane Moody, Matt Baker, Nick Chapman, Ryan Grady, Trevor Talent, Tyler Woody, manager Alan Lale, and Coach Wayne Chapman and Coach Kelly Grady won the district championship. And whereas the team continued winning to become the North Carolina state champions, and whereas the team also won the Southeast Region champion in Gulfport, Florida, and whereas the team was one of 8 teams from the United States and one of 16 in the world to qualify for the 2004 Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and whereas during the tournament, the Morganton All-Stars played in 5 nationally televised games on ESPN, and whereas the Morganton 2004 All-Star team finished 3rd in the United States and 7th in the world, now therefore be resolved that Mel Cohen, Mayor of the City of Morganton, does hereby proclaim and celebrate the 10th anniversary of the 2004 Morganton Little League All-Stars in the City of Morganton, and encourages all citizens to celebrate the 10th anniversary by attending the opening of the 64th baseball season on April 28, 2014 at Catawba Meadows Park. Adopted this the 7th day of April, 2014. Mayor Mel Cohen, Clerk Sally Sandy.
Okay, making this form of motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We look forward to seeing as many citizens down at on the 28th at 5 o'clock down at Catawba Meadows. It's Gary is trying to get as many of the kids, not kids anymore, but many of the young adults to come to that game. Looking forward to it. All right. I went to a banquet to honor the Department of Health and Human Services Senior Corps members that work in so many different agencies in Morganton, particularly over at the J. Iverson Riddle Center to help, and they get a small token amount of money. But I went there and I read the proclamation. So, guys, you have it in front of you, but I'd like to make a motion that we pass this proclamation. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Okay, we'll have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then a proclamation for a long-time employee at the Western Piedmont Council of Governments, Dana Roberts. How many years?
43.
43 years. Unbelievable amount of service to the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. All in favor of this proclamation say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Circles Initiative. If y'all will come, I went to a meeting of theirs several weeks ago. Quite impressed, and I wish I could partake as much as I'd love to partake of their challenge that they are involved in. But it is a great program, and I know like I say, the First Methodist Church is dealing with it and working in it. I'm going to turn it over to Crystal. You Crystal?
I'm Renee. She's Crystal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Renee.
Okay. And Mary would be here, but she's in Durham.
I understand.
The birth of a grandchild.
I understand. Thank y'all for being here.
We appreciate the invitation. My name is Renee Lewis, and this is Crystal Roberts. and we're here to share with you something very positive that's happening in our community. And basically, we would like to thank the mayor for his invitation. He did come to our evening out with circles out to the My Local Bakery, and we had a great time and have since added probably about 8 allies to our group since that meeting. But basically, and you've also been given some brochures. You have a national brochure because it is a national program. You have a county brochure, and then you also have a stat sheet for our Burke County initiative. And so basically what we want to talk about tonight is Circles is a national initiative that works with people in poverty. It enables those people living in poverty to take control of their own lives and the lives of their children. And we do that by building intentional relationships and an intentional community that provides the resources and the social capital to the people in poverty. And this is kind of a unique kind of way of approaching poverty. You're not giving money, you're not giving handouts, but basically what you're doing is agreeing to walk beside people in poverty and to let them tell you what they need to better their lives. Now, I could stand here and talk forever, as people who know me know, as a matter of fact. And we do have some other Circles people in here today. But instead of listening to me talk or me tell you statistics, we thought it would be better to have one of our Circle leaders explain to you what Circles has done to her life, and then we can go from there. So, Crystal, there you go.
Okay. I have been a Circle leader since August of 2012. And when me and my family started, I was a little skeptical. You have to, put your business out there, and that's kind of hard when you're in those circumstances. So I went through the class, and when I got through with the class, I work in early childhood, so I'm a teacher, and I thought, what a good way to give back if I could teach. And so I spoke to the facilitator, and I said, could I sit in on the class and help you teach the next class? And she thought that was a great idea. And so that's how I started giving back. And the more I gave back, the more things for me started to change. I started out, I was about to lose my trailer. I didn't have reliable transportation. I didn't know how I was going to get my kids back and forth to school. I didn't have a job. I didn't know where to go. And little by little, with the support of Circles, not doing it for me, but just guiding me, it all started falling together. And my husband got a good job at J. Iverson Riddle, and he has been there employed now for a year. I get to stay home with my little one, who is 2, and I'm very blessed to be able to do that. We had applied for a Habitat home and was just approved for a Habitat home, and so I've been working my sweat equity hours. I currently teach the class for Circles now for our 3rd class that goes through. And I'm still giving back. And every week when I go, it's like family. You go in and you go in the room, and it doesn't matter if you've seen them before. You're like, hey, how are you? How is everyone? And everyone's so welcoming. And I would just encourage you, if you want to know more, just come, because I could sit here and talk for days, and I have before. But if you come and you see it, it's real. And it's life-changing. It really is. And in all honesty, when I started, I didn't want to stay in Burke County. I wanted to move away. I wanted to go somewhere, and I thought moving away would help. But going through Circles, it's like, I'm never leaving Burke County. I'm staying here forever. You'll never get rid of me now. So, but just thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Circles, because they do an awesome thing for our community. They really do.
Crystal, thank you very much. And Renee, I would very much like to ask you, because some of our city council members may want to volunteer. There's no money involved, and that even sounds better to them. I know how tight they are, but I mean, it's an expertise that they can help you with. And Kelly has been very knowledgeable about Circles, and if you could let Kelly know when the next meetings and where they are and what time, it would be great.
Well, if you'll give me 1 minute, I can tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
We meet every Thursday night from 5:30 to 7:30 at Christ United Methodist Church in Drexel. We are there every Thursday night. We have canceled twice for weather. Other than that, we are there. Anyone is welcome. It's an open community. You can walk in, you will be greeted by numerous people just wanting to welcome you to Circles. And so you're welcome to come and join us.
Before I let you go, I know it's confusing. It was for me when I was listening to the presentation. But tell me what the ally and the leader, what those two situations mean.
The ally is the person that chooses to build an intentional relationship with the circle leader, who is the person that has done the training, they've gone through the class, they're the person in poverty. So the ally agrees that they're going to walk beside them and help them build that social capital. So that's kind of the difference. Those are our two pieces. And we would be glad, if anybody has questions on the brochure, there's some contact information. We can do programs anywhere if people wants to know more about it. As you can tell, we'll talk a long time for it, and we'll be glad, but that's the main difference.
Any questions from our city council?
And, y'all are welcome to come support us on April the 19th. We are doing a FATS breakfast to raise funds, and tickets are available at the door. They're $7. We'll be there from 7 to 10, and we will have allies, circle leaders, and other people that are part of the Circles community there serving pancakes.
Very good. Thank you very much, Renee.
Thank you.
And Crystal. God bless you. Thank you for what y'all do. Thank you a lot.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Ed Phillips, Director of Burke County Tourism and Travel and Tourism.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Since I was here last year...
I called you a name about...
A good name?
Last week we did the ribbon cutting for the wine situation. Called you Burke County's P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
There's nobody any better at promoting Morganton and Burke County and all the towns in Burke County than P.T. Barnum, and that's you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mel. I will take that as a compliment.
He is, very much so.
Since I was here last year at this time, tourism has been good for Morganton and Burke County, and one of the ways we measure tourism is through the occupancy tax collections. And this year we're up 25% over 2012 and 2013 in those collections. In September, we were up 45% over 2012 for a new one-month record. But we need more hotel rooms. This summer, we have events coming here, and we don't have enough hotel rooms for them. And so another bed and breakfast would do well in this county. We have more demand than we have rooms. And it's time to put our energy and our resources into developing hotels and bed and breakfasts, and we're going to be doing that. The Alien Abduction movie premiere was a huge success to those that have participated. We had 450 people attended it. 3 TV stations, 3 radio stations, and multiple other newspapers covered the event. And I want to read you an email I received. This is from Matty Beckerman, director of the movie. He said, Ed, Miami was fun, but nowhere near as awesome as the time we had with you. We just got back to Los Angeles, and we're all missing Morganton. Let me also say that in the last 3 weeks, we have seen 2 to 3 families per day in the visitor center looking to move here. And they all have one common denominator, and that's they are sick of the winters up north. They're looking to come here. Tonight, I'd like to show you a 2.5-minute video, and Chad, if you'll roll that.
Are those stars?
Brown Mountain is home to something unique.
We think they're friendly. They follow people around. They may come up and interact with a person. They're round orbs, maybe 4 feet, 5 feet in diameter that shrink in size, grow in size.
For hundreds of years,
Science has failed to explain them.
people have reported seeing lights around Brown Mountain,
Paranormal researchers have failed to explain them.
turning this area into a popular tourist destination. And now, it's the backdrop for a new movie called Alien Abduction, directed by Matty Beckerman.
There's an 11-year-old autistic kid who sees the world through his video camera. And we see this family go on a vacation, they're camping, and they're in the woods, and they're having a great time, and they see lights over their campground. From that moment, things go off the rails.
While the film may be science fiction, The abduction plotline is based in recorded legend.
All the reports dating back to the Cherokee Indians, where large groups of people go missing here. It's not one or two, it's like, a few hundred at a time.
It may sound eerie, which was exactly what the cast experienced during the shoot.
I get into my room and it feels weird, and like 3 o'clock in the morning comes and I see something in my room. And everybody started having experiences happen. Like lights would come on, tables would shake, windows would rattle.
And Maddie made sure the feelings stayed with the cast.
He pops up like behind the couch, and he always just like peers around and waits for somebody to like turn around. You never know when he's gonna do it.
This overlook in Burke County is where the movie Alien Abduction starts. And so when the director wanted to find a place for a premiere, why not Morganton? It's perfect, and the people are excited about it.
There's never been a premiere in our town of this significance before, I'm sure.
Extremely excited about it. I just can't believe that we've got a world premiere of a major motion picture here in Morganton.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. It brings interesting, neat people into our community.
Long term, we expect film tourism to be big for this film. People are going to come here to the Brown Mountain Overlook and other places in Burke County to try to see the lights.
It's something Maddie Beckerman looks forward to.
I'd love to see tourism increase here. I'd love to see people actually come out here, taking pictures of the lights, camping out, creating businesses around the Brown Mountain Lights. And it's great for the economy. I mean, it's terrific to create jobs. It's terrific to bring people to Western North Carolina.
While the movie Alien Abduction is a 2014 premiere, the hope is the area that was used to set the scene will continue to feel the benefits for generations to come. In Burke County, Kyle McCurry, My Fox Carolinas.
So I would just like to end by saying thank you to the people of Morganton that supported this premiere and came out to it, and support the businesses that helped this movie be shot here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed, and P.T. Barnum Phillips. And that should be your nickname. Thank you for all you do. All right, we have the Western Piedmont Bicycle Plan Public Workshop. Ronnie.
Yes, yes, Mayor. We wanted to make the public aware that there is going to be a public workshop concerning the bicycle plan in Western Piedmont. The meeting in Morganton will be Tuesday, April the 8th at the Burke Senior Center from 5 to 7. This plan is intended to promote safety, access, and mobility for cyclists, and to actually establish a bike route throughout our county, if at all possible, and connect it with other bike routes. So it's a drop-in format. People who have interest in the bicycle workshop, we're asking them to come please give their input. This is a chance for the public to make input into a public policy. So it's their chance on April the 8th, Tuesday, at the Burke Senior Center on North Green Street from 5 to 7.
Thank you, Ronnie.
That it? Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Very good. Thank you, sir. Downtown Morganton Main Street video. Sally?
You got a slight taste of the video at your workshop that we have done to reintroduce to folks the Main Street program and downtown and all that's happened there, and why we are a big supporter of the North Carolina Main Street program. That has now been completed. We promised to get that back to you, so we thought we would debut that tonight and give everybody the opportunity to see it. Folks can go to the website and see it also, but we thought we'd give you the first opportunity to see that tonight.
Very good. Let her roll.
The Morganton Main Street program has spent more than 30 years working to maintain a vibrant and energized downtown. The program has generated more than $60 million of public and private investment into downtown, and that investment has helped downtown Morganton weather the storms that have left many downtowns across America crumbling and desolate. Today, downtown Morganton, the heart and the soul of the city, is strong and healthy thanks to the Main Street program. Morganton is one of 61 Main Street communities in North Carolina and one of thousands across the country. The Main Street program has been so successful in North Carolina and the nation that surrounding communities are still applying to become Main Street communities themselves.
Why did you choose to locate downtown? Well, originally, my dad was here, and so it just made sense to not move too far away from what was already working. But we found downtown Morganton to be a great community. Just like the guys that work beside of us, across the street, Benjamin's, Pat Snack Bar, Lawson Callahan. It's a good place to do business. It's the heart of Morganton. It's the heart of Burke County. And with 181 coming right down through the middle of Morganton, that's our lifeblood. And if it works, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But downtown Morganton's been good to us. Where else are you going to go that, downtown will always be downtown. And the big box stores will always be the big box stores. But in Morganton, it's just special. You've got folks who are working for you, like the Main Street, Sharon Jablonski, Mel Cohen. Mel is his heart is in Morganton and all of Morganton, but specifically he knows that if the heart's not healthy, it's not likely any other part of the body will be healthy. So you got to keep that engine going.
For the past 15 years, I've been located in kind of at the edge of Valdez, North Carolina. As the business has grown, I needed more production area and was hoping for a little retail space as well. As I was looking around to see where that would be most viable, downtown Morganton was clearly the choice. Over the last handful of years, we've gotten more arts developing into downtown, more restaurants, better restaurants, more locally owned places. So when the move became necessary, downtown Morganton was clearly the place to be.
Why did you decide to locate in downtown Morganton?
We saw a need here. I spent a great deal of due diligence time here talking to people, researching the market, and realized that people here wanted to have a UPS store. And so when we opened our doors, people were coming in. Thank you so much for being here. We don't have to drive all over the place. It's right in downtown. It's very convenient.
What is your impression of the Main Street program?
I'm a real fan of it. I appreciate all that Sharon and Beth do. Like I said earlier, Main Street promotes downtown businesses all the time, and I'm so appreciative of that. They give us an opportunity to collaborate and work together to be bigger and better than we would be on our own.
The Main Street program does a good job. Sharon's always working, and I know there's other people in her office too, but I know Sharon well. She and I went to school together. But they're always working to try to attract business downtown and to attract stores to come to fill and people to come in, business to come and go in these stores. And they work hard at that. I know Yanni's Restaurant is part of that, and they're always recruiting, trying to get people downtown, and she's done a good job.
So what's your impression of the Main Street program?
I have been very pleased with it. In fact, Sharon Jablonski is one of the main reasons why we located downtown. I had an opportunity. I saw her on an interview on UNC TV. And I saw that interview and I said, well, I need to go and talk to her. So I went in and met with her. She was very helpful in connecting me to the right people in the city to talk to, helping walk me through the getting into the right places. And we've never had a regret, ever. We feel like that what the Main Street program does in supporting us through the activities that they have, the calendar events that they have, it draws a lot of traffic down here. And I've been at many, many, many of the events, and not only does it draw traffic, but they're very entertaining for us too.
What does the Main Street program do for downtown that you appreciate the most?
Well, just their focus on it. I really like the streetscapes. The sidewalks across the street. I know it's a lot to go through with breaking up the old cement and things like that, but they broke all that cement up. I remember seeing a guy coming out of a store across the street and falling. He tripped over a crack in the cement. But they were good enough to go in there and break all that up, put the streetscapes in. They've made it more pedestrian friendly. I know when it first happened, I thought, oh my goodness, they're going to pinch off to where you can't drive through town, but that's not true. Change is hard on us older guys. But anyhow, it took it out to where it was easier for pedestrians to cross. It was safer. And they've really worked to make this a place for people to come and just hang out. I know the Grind coffee shop up on the corner, my local bakery both have tables outside and have music downtown, especially in the summertime. You got the concerts on the square. I think it's May, June, July, and it's a really good family atmosphere.
What does the Main Street program do for downtown that you appreciate the most?
I believe more than anything is it draws people to the downtown area to see all of the things that there are available here. The restaurants, the theater, the coffee shops, just walking around. The concerts that they have on Friday night are wonderful. I mean, just packed with people. I was amazed the first one I went to and at the talent and how good it was. And then I went and told everybody, and I know other people do the same thing. And so that's been one of the big pluses, is just bringing people here for the first time.
When the City Council approved the Main Street program in 1982, the city funded the program with general fund revenues. In 1984, the City Council also approved an 8-cent downtown special district tax to help fund program activities such as facade grants and landscaping. In 1994, the City Council increased the tax to 14 cents to help fund and implement the Downtown Master Plan. Today, the Main Street budget averages more than $450,000. Those funds are spent on personnel, capital improvements, marketing, operations, public parking, and grants. The Downtown Special Tax District generates $114,000, roughly 25% of the Main Street program's budget, and the remaining funds come from the city's general funds. The city puts in roughly $3 for every dollar generated by the downtown tax.
Well, I hate taxes. I think most people do. But I'm actually happy to participate in this, and let me just give you an example and tell you why. If you owned a $300,000 property downtown and you paid that 14 cents, what that would be an additional $340 of tax per year. And if you break that down into 12 months, it's about $35 a month. And I feel that we get a tremendous amount of promotion and pushing out what Morganton has to offer for that amount of money. Now, and that's if you own a $300,000 building or piece of property.
Do you think you get your money's worth?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's big bang for your buck. These guys are out there every day in the cold and hot and everything else, and I know Sharon Jablonski's working hard. Now, I don't always agree with everything Sharon does, but I don't agree with everything my wife does either. But I still love her.
Right.
But, you know, she's trying. Right. And it's awful easy to sit on the sidelines and critique those people that are in the game. But she's in the game, and she plays hard on every down.
Do you think you get your money's worth for the tax?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can call Sharon Jablonski's office and say, hey, you know, what about this, or when is this happening, or how can I find out about this? And I get the answer immediately. And then the accessibility to the people that work with it is amazing.
Since its creation, the Main Street program has accomplished a tremendous amount of improvements to downtown Morganton. Property owners have completed 206 facade improvements and 124 building renovations. The Main Street program has installed streetscapes, improved sidewalks and alleyways, installed benches and trash receptacles, and most recently started installing wayfinding signs that will direct visitors to the downtown district and throughout Morganton. Main Street also produces many community events, including the ACC Chili Cook-Off, the Halloween Spooktacular, and the Christmas Parade, which are sponsored by the Downtown Development Association, the Downtown Farmers Market, the TGIF Free Friday Night Concert Series, and the annual Historic Morganton Festival. These events draw thousands of residents and visitors into downtown every year, and people from all over the region have the opportunity to see what downtown Morganton has to offer. These efforts over the course of 30 years have preserved downtown Morganton as the heart and soul of the community. City leaders could have decided to pass up the opportunity to start the program in Morganton, but they didn't. Mayor Kistler and the City Council saw the Main Street program as a chance to revitalize downtown Morganton. Thanks to the Main Street program and the commitment of the City of Morganton government and the community, downtown Morganton has set a high mark and is an example to which other communities strive to imitate.
On the 28th of March, our governor came to Morganton, specifically to downtown, to look at our downtown, spent 2 hours with us downtown Morganton, going from building to building. And I want you to know it wasn't because Morganton was just a stop that he could use the bathroom in Morganton. It was a stop that he wanted to use because Morganton is one of the notable Main Street programs in the Southeast in North Carolina. Joy, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Come back to order. Thank you very much. A couple of things I want to mention is the Human Relations Commission is having its banquet at May 1st, 6 p.m. Council members, I need you to tell Kelly so she can tell Diane Stewart. We were unanimous last year. It's at the Community House at 6 p.m. on May 1. Love to see everybody come to that. That's the Human Relations Commission banquet, Ronnie. Ronnie Rector is he's not in here, right? Yeah, there he is. Our new chief is going to have a reception at the Community House on April 16th from 4 to 6 o'clock. Tell your friends. Everybody go and congratulate Ronnie, and we're glad to have him aboard, and look forward to that event. That's on April 16th, 4 to 6 at the Community House. A reception honoring our new chief, Ronnie Rector. Human Relations Commission banquet, May 1, 6 p.m., Community House. And now we'll move on to Municipal Power Agency.
Nothing at this time.
Consent agenda.
The consent agenda before you tonight actually includes 5 individual items, and those items we ask you to consider in one motion unless someone would like an item removed and discussed separately. For those of you viewing at home, those items are 2 sets of minutes. Minutes from the February 7th City Council workshop and from the regular council meeting held on March the 3rd. Tax releases in the amount of $2,026.09. The consideration of transferring the vehicles registered to the Burke County Narcotics Task Force to Burke County in order to allow them to keep their permanent confidential tags. And then a budget amendment to receive dollars from an insurance settlement for damage suffered at our electric substations in storms earlier this year. That amount is $75,985. And then consideration of a non-disturbance agreement with Verizon Wireless. That will be between the city, BB&T, and Verizon Wireless for attaching antenna to the water tank at this facility.
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Second. All right, have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, new business, public hearing. I'll open up right now, and it's a public hearing for an amendment to the Downtown Municipal Tax District. Sally.
Okay, I think Louis is going to...
Well, are we going, you just opened a public hearing.
I did.
Do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to address this, what the subject is,
Yeah.
before we have? All right. As you know, we've discussed this about the Downtown Municipal Tax District, especially at the workshop. And at your direction, I prepared an amendment to a resolution, amending a resolution actually concerning this. As we heard in the video, the Downtown Tax District was established in the 1980s. There was an amendment in 1994 which considerably extended the area of the district, and in that amendment, which was adopted by resolution in 1994, June 6, 1994, it described certain areas, and in the description included a statement that purported to exclude any owner-occupied single-family residence, and then identified 23 specific properties by their then owner and a tax identification or parcel number. Since then, the issue that's developed is that some people have sought refunds of the downtown tax. North Carolina's Constitution requires that all properties within a jurisdiction be treated the same way when it comes to taxation, unless they've been specifically accepted by the Constitution or by statute. And there is no such exemption for owner-occupied single-family residences or any other residences. The 23 properties that were specifically listed, oddly enough, most of those have not sought to be released from the tax, and many of those are no longer owner-occupied single-family residences in any event. Many of them, in fact, are no longer residences at all. Some are vacant lots, some are businesses. The proposed amendment, which is before you and which requires a public hearing, would clarify, first of all, clarify the boundaries, that all the properties within the boundaries are included within the district, and there are no properties excluded, including any of those that were specifically listed before, and further clarify that all properties within the district are subject to the tax. And a proposed resolution is attached, which would accomplish those purposes, would involve a relatively minor amendment to the previous resolution, really just deleting the last sentence and the list of 23 properties.
The public hearing I opened up. Anyone wishing to speak for or against? Now's the time. State your name and where you reside. Close the public hearing, council. I'll make a motion to amend the 1994, am I looking at it right?
Yes.
Expanding and extending the downtown municipal tax district.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public hearing, I'll open up. Consider rezoning approximately 0.77 acres of property located at 707 North Green Street from residential medium to neighborhood business conditional use submitted by CMTT Properties. Sally.
This rezoning request is to utilize this property as a professional real estate office, and you will recall and realize that the North Green Street corridor has historically contained a mixture of uses, including single-family, multifamily, office, and commercial uses for quite some time. There is a small amount of vacant land to the immediate east of this property that is owned by the city. The adjoining residential neighborhoods are stable and occupied and have been for quite some time. This property adjoins the U.S. Post Office that is located in that area, which is zoned neighborhood business. The house positioning on the lot lends itself to a conditional zoning that could work very well in order to restrict any adverse conditions that could occur within the adjacent neighborhood in considering this rezoning. The staff and the Planning Commission recommend rezoning this property and that it be approved with the conditions that have been set out in the information before you. We'll tell you that the advertisement was in the News Herald on the 23rd and the 30th of March 23rd and 30th, 2014. Property has been posted and first-class mail notices were mailed to adjoining property owners.
Make a motion to certify that this...
For or against? Public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyone here speaking for or against? Close it. Motion to certify that this rezoning request is a confirmation with Morganton's adopted Mission 2030 Land Development Plan.
Second.
I have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. We've got a second motion, guys.
I move we adopt an ordinance rezoning approximately 0.78 acres of property located at 707 North Green Street from residential medium to neighborhood business conditional use as per the conditions stated.
Second. Have a motion, second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
A point on the particular motion, just as a matter of formality to make the motion correct, it's 0.77 acres instead of 0.78 acres.
It's confusing because the other rezone tonight is a 0.78 acre tract, but you're right.
Okay. Thank you, Forrest. Okay, I have a motion, have a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, next item, Sally, is a public hearing to consider rezoning approximately, I'm opening up, approximately 0.78 acres of property located at 500 West Fleming Drive from heavy industrial to general business conditional use submitted by Mull Oil Company.
And this is 0.78 acres. What are the chances, right, that we'd have two, 1.77 and 1.78? This property, as you are aware, has been used for oil distribution for many years. And historically, this is in an area that's been used for industrial purposes for many years. Has begun to transition into more retail and commercial activities as of late. West Fleming Drive, as you know, is one of the primary entry corridors. Our Mission 2030 plan encouraged future land uses in our primary entry corridors that did not detract or discourage visual, and have continued visual improvements in those areas. The owner wishes to lease this location to a tire dealership and a garage. The staff and planning commission recommend rezoning this property with the conditions that are stated in your information that is provided to you. The public hearing was advertised on the same dates, March 23rd and 30th, in the News Herald. Property was posted, and first-class mail notices were sent to adjacent property owners.
Public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against? Close the public hearing. I'll make a motion to certify that this rezoning request is in conformance with Morganton's adopted Mission 2030 Land Development Plan.
Second.
Have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Got a motion, another motion, guys.
I move to adopt an ordinance rezoning 0.78 acres of property located at 500 West Fleming Drive from heavy industrial to general business, conditional use as per the conditions stated.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. The next item is consideration to authorize an ingress-egress easement to CMTT properties across a .13 acre city-owned property adjacent to 707 North Green Street. Sally?
And this is the property that the city owns. This adjacent to the rezoning that you just did a couple of items back. The city owns .13 acres of property that is immediately west of the rezoned property. It was acquired in 1981 from the Redevelopment Commission of Morganton, and that had to do with a lot of things that were happening with that property at the time. Currently, that property serves as the drive entrance to the U.S. Post Office that is located there. In looking at the rezoning and looking at how the property would lay out and make the best access and the safest access, it is believed that allowing through this easement this property to access through the drive that exists at the post office would be the best. And so this would grant the easement for the rights for ingress and egress across our property so that the new property could be used in that manner.
Matter of getting it on the table. Motion to approve an ingress, egress easement to CMTT properties across a 0.13 acre city-owned property adjacent to 707 North Green Street. That's a form of motion.
Second.
Have a second. Discussion.
That would mean there would be a sort of a driveway out of the existing parking lot of the post office.
Well, not exactly, if I may.
It would.
Our lot is very small, and presently it is mostly taken up with the asphalt drive that goes into the post office. This property, the CMTT property, directly adjoins that, and they would simply be building, I think I'm right on this, am I not, Lee? Their drive would simply connect into the existing pavement on our property. It wouldn't affect the Postal Service property.
Right, but it would be a sort of a curb cut out of the...
Like right next to that. If you look on the map from the planning and zoning minutes, you can sort of see how that is designed. And I guess Lee, they can probably talk about that in more detail. If you kind of look at that picture, it's on page 3 of the planning and zoning minutes that are attached. And see the drawing with the proposed parking area and the proposed driveway. If you look at the existing, it identifies the existing pavement. And then there's like a little, you see the property line there. See right down behind those trees is what we're talking about.
Understand.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, consideration of a contract with Retail Strategies. Sally.
This is an exciting thing, and you will recall that at our workshop in February, we talked about the fact that in 2004 that we had commissioned a retail study, at that time with a company called Buxton. It was doing a lot of that work in the country for municipalities at that time. We had talked about with the development of Morganton Heights, with the new retail that has come into the market and with the existing retail that has shifted into new spaces, that we need to consider an update of that plan in some manner in order to be able to work to try to attract new retail. And we are very fortunate to have with us tonight Jennings Gray from Electricities. He is with their Economic Development Group, and he is here to tell you about an opportunity that they have presented to us to do just that.
State your name and where you reside, sir.
Thank you. My name is Jennings Gray. I'm a retail development specialist with Electricities, currently living in Raleigh, originally from the mountains up in Ashe County in West Jefferson. So I'm a Western boy, I guess you can say. So I was hired for Electricities, I guess about almost 2 years ago now, to do retail recruitment for the cities of Electricities members. There's 51 cities across North Carolina, as you well know, and what we found out real quickly was that there's a growing need. Almost every city in our membership has some kind of retail need, either recruitment, retention, or expansion. And so we looked at that, and I saw it quickly. I couldn't do it on my own. We hired an additional person to kind of split up the territory. But we kind of looked at that we needed some really focused attention on our cities, looking at underserved areas and categories. Some cities were doing very well in the automotive category, but doing very poorly in the restaurant category or clothing category. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of focus. Just like the UPS store owner said in the video, you know, he saw a need, he researched the market. And that's exactly what this study will do on all your categories for Morganton. It is meant to enhance Morganton. It's meant to see what areas, what gaps there are existing, what areas we can help recruit of those categories that are expanding, and also look at your existing businesses and see kind of maybe if there's some kind of category mix that needs to be improved. It's certainly not all big box retail recruitment that we're looking at. We're looking at franchise opportunities. We're looking at homegrown businesses. And we can help the mom and pop store to realize that, you know, maybe they need to sell more lamps and couches, or vice versa. You know, we can get down to that specific, or at least this company can, Retail Strategies. So when we start our quest to look at consultants, what we didn't want to do, first of all, we didn't want a report we could put on the shelf. We wanted something that could be that would help us implement that plan. We needed boots on the ground. We needed people out there actually actively recruiting for our cities, and that's where Retail Strategies comes into play. We met with them. We did 2 test pilots, one in Lexington and one in Lumberton. They're actually now finishing up, and we're very pleased with the results. Now we've kind of expanded that program and identifying 3 cities in the west and 3 cities in the east. And Morganton is one of those 6 cities we identified to make this proposal to. And what this proposal will do is actually at the end of the day, we'll have, it's a 3-year plan basically. The first 60, 90 days is all research. It's studying your market. And then it's actually engaging that data into identifying what retailers you need, those that are expanding, and kind of marrying the two together. We look at repositioning sites. If the Staples model is shrinking their floor space and another retailer is expanding their floor space, we'll switch those two. And we'll help the developers, help the brokers, help the tenant reps, help the real estate managers. And Retail Strategies has those connections already. We also look at maybe some guidance of the excess and redevelopment areas. With your increase, which is a little bit atypical, but you're leading the nationwide trend as far as retail construction. You have new shopping centers coming into play, and that's freeing up some existing space. Well, what do we do with that space? What's the best way to do that? And actually, it's a great thing to have that space available because you have existing space that retailers do not have to go out here and spend money to build ground up. Retail sales tax revenues. We all know how important those are. We need to look at gaps, look at leakages, and somehow how to close that gap there. We search for, and Retail Strategies can provide the peer analysis as well. We take Morganton and all the demographics associated with Morganton, and we compare on a nationwide basis of other cities that are just like Morganton. We look at what retailers are there. So, kind of needless to say, if they're doing very well there, then they can do very well here. And that's not only just companies that have a presence in North Carolina, but also companies that may be looking to expand in North Carolina, like Publix, for example, Academy Sports, for another good example there, where they're in cities in Oklahoma, Texas, maybe Tennessee, Virginia, and they want to come in the North Carolina market. So we help them saying, here's one just like your market in Tennessee or Virginia. Kind of what it boils down to is that we took, we met with Retail Strategies and we said, okay, what's your cost to do this proposal on a 3-year basis? And they break it down into year 1, year 2, and year 3 funding. And year 1, normal price is $48,000. In year 2, $24,000. In year 3, $24,000. For a total 3-year program of $96,000. Well, Electric City is like, well, they can't afford that. We can discount that down. So we actually negotiated like a 35% discount for a total of $71,000. So we brought it down from 96 to 71, and that represented, of course, a $25,000 savings, $25,000 savings. Well, Electric City said, okay, well, we will actually help you a little bit further and provide grants for you guys. And so for year 1. On the $35,000, Electric Cities will kick in $15,000 grant, and that will leave you a balance of $20,000. Year 2, which is $18,000, Electric Cities say we'll pay half. We'll pay $9,000, and the same thing for year 3. So in total, at the end of the day, end of the 3-year period, you will have invested $38,000 for a $96,000 program, and this is not a product you put on the shelf. This is a living, breathing document that will hopefully, expand the retail opportunities here in Morganton. It is so we have to know what we can control. We can't control the retailers, of course, but we can control the message that's going out there to those and make sure that what is being said about Morganton is not maybe just the city limits of Morganton, but the trade area of Morganton, where it draws from. What's the drive time in? A lot of these retailers do a mile ring study. Well, for here and in a lot of our areas, drive 20 minutes for retail is not uncommon. In fact, in the mountains, we would drive 30, 45 minutes for retail. And it's just something that they don't really kind of take into consideration. But it's very important when they build a small store, then they realize 3 or 4 years later that they built it too small. We've all heard those stories. So I guess I'll stop there and open up any questions you may have about the program and the grants.
Any questions?
And the success in Lexington and Lumberton, can you give us any details?
Sure. We've had, like I say, it's a process. It's basically a 3-year process. But already we've seen, we've met with developers that they kind of knew about the Lumberton market, but they really wasn't sure, again, what the data said about Lumberton. We went in there, we showed them the trade area of Lumberton, and now we're looking at a 35-acre development site there off of 95. So that's a success. In Lexington, we're talking with developers now. We just met with several developers in Charlotte at ICSC, International Council Shopping Center trade show down there. And we present them with Lexington flyers and market studies there. You know, so many components go into the decision. You have a developer maybe driving the deal, where a developer develops the 12-acre site or 15-acre site, then they go and try to pull retailers in. On the other side, you have the retail real estate managers trying to drive the deal. We want to be in Morganton and have a broker go try to find the site. So we're dealing with a lot of different components here and trying to market these towns, and we've done that in both Lumberton and Lexington.
Okay.
I will say that I think that the proposal seems really exciting, with the fact that they stay with you for the 3 years, that they try to help you implement the information that comes out, and that is something that we didn't have last time when we tried to do this. I will also say that this is an example of one of the benefits that I think we get for being a member of Electricities, because they're coming to the table to help to do this. And I think it's also important to point out that for every sales tax dollar that gets generated in Burke County, and it doesn't really matter where it is, that everyone in Burke County gets a benefit from that with the local taxes that come back. So if it's generated in Morganton, then Drexel, Rutherford College, Valdez, Burke County, Glen Alpine, everyone else gets their share of that piece too. So this is really a benefit that Electricities is providing that helps everyone.
Your wishes, council.
I move we enter into a contract with Retail Strategies to prepare a retail study and provide professional services with retail recruitment.
Second.
Have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, very much. Consideration of a lease with the Morganton Parks and Recreation Foundation, one of the most unbelievable organizations that any town could ever have to work together with us. Sally.
This is a long-standing relationship and one I think that has been very beneficial to the citizens of Morganton. You are aware that we have had a lease with the Morganton Rec Foundation that deals with the recreational properties that they actually own, that we lease from them and then use as part of the recreation program. And that's the Collett Street Center, including the swimming pool, tennis courts, a ball field, parking lots there. Also, Shuey Park is owned by Morganton Parks and Recreation, and that lease has expired. We have an extension going right now. This is a new lease that takes into account all of those properties. We have, for the first time, actually surveyed those properties, something that they are very happy to have, and we did that in-house for them. And the lease proposes to you, it's a 20-year period, and the rent is set at what we are currently paying for that, which is $90,000 per year in rental revenue to them. And it allows opportunities for that rent to adjust in the future if the two parties mutually agree, but it is locked in at that for the first 5 years.
This is not new money. A motion to approve and execute lease agreement with the Morganton Parks and Recreation Foundation, Incorporated.
Second.
Have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consideration of a resolution authorizing application for a technical assistance grant from North Carolina Department of Energy and Natural Resources, Division of Water Infrastructure. Sally.
This is known as a TAG grant. It is an opportunity for us to get some monies through the state to help us do some preliminary engineering work and some assessment work. We are asking for permission to apply for that. It will be taking a look at the wastewater collection system in the Hunting Creek Sewer Basin and hopefully giving us some ideas on how we could plan in our capital program to improve the sewer system in that area, which ultimately helps with our infiltration and ultimately helps us with what we treat at the plant.
Move to adopt a resolution authorizing the city to submit a funding application to the NCDENR Division of Water Resources and Infrastructure for a Hunting Creek sewer investigation study.
Second that. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next item is consideration to enter into an amended sale attachment and lease agreement on the Glen Alpin water tank with Sprint Nextel Corporation. Sally.
Since 2012, we have been working with these guys, and they have had some temporary antenna placed on this tank. They now would like to make that a permanent situation, and currently we have 3 telecommunications companies that utilize space on that tank. In order to make this permanent, the amendment would require that they pay an additional $12,000 a year over quarterly payments to the city for the space on that tank.
Motion to enter in a amendment attaching agreement and lease with AGW Leasing Company on the Glen Alpin water tank and allow the mayor and manager to make technical changes as necessary.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. All discussion.
It's a
All in
good
favor?
thing.
Huh? All in
Good
favor say
thing.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Consideration to prohibit parking on the south side of Wedgewood Drive at the intersection of Lenore Street for a distance of 250 feet from the intersection. Sally.
We have received a request to take a look at this, and if you drive by there, as I do every single day, you see a line of Leland cypress trees, and how the road comes into Lenore Road there is at an angle. Mark can talk about this much more technically than I can, but you've got the trees and you've got the angle and you have all these cars parked there that when you turn into the road, you're on top of the cars before you know that they're there. Visually, it just doesn't look like a really safe situation. So the city staff has taken a look at it and recommend that you consider putting a no parking zone, which would be along the entire curb line between the driveways that exist for the River Park Apartments, which are located on the other side of those cypress trees.
Make a motion to approve an ordinance establishing no parking zone for Wedgewood Drive.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Consideration of modification of existing no parking ordinance for North Green Street, ordinance number 8435, and on 8/6, August 6th, 1984, listed in Appendix 1, traffic in Section 101, subsection 19. Sally.
That's quite a description, isn't it? That's in the existing parking ordinances. This is referring to North Green Street. There's a lot of references in the parking ordinance there for streets that have been reconstructed, for intersections that are now different than they were when this was all put together. Configurations have changed, alignments have changed. Additionally, we have added the greenway along the part of North Green Street that goes between where you start at the little island there and go down toward the post office intersection. Since that has been added, it has come to our attention several times, and we've tried to deal with the fact that it is being used a lot as a parking area. That has continued, and we don't seem to be making much progress in getting that changed. We are seeing a lot of cars parked and extending driveways, if you will, in that area, and parking in the part that has been paved and meant to be a bikeway and a greenway to be used differently. So staff is asking that you consider establishing that as a no parking zone. And that would give us the opportunity to enforce that.
What are your wishes, Council?
In looking at that, down there, what we're calling a greenway, and the street. In some places, there's a wide area of grass that in a lot of cases is now mud because of the parking. And I think that's what we're really trying to address, correct? That and the parking on the greenway.
That and the parking really across the paved portion that if you were coming down it, you'd have to dodge the car.
Yeah, and I think what's different about this from a normal sidewalk is the normal sidewalk isn't wide enough to park on. This is, and people have been doing that. And the ordinance as previously existed just said no parking along the street. Well, you know, that should include the sidewalk, but it just was not perfectly clear.
Chief, I don't know if this is yours or if it's your situation. What's your name? Fred? We probably need to put door hangers on all the homes on both sides of the street before we enact this program.
We have talking about a period of time where you would let everybody know. Obviously, you don't go out day one and start ticketing people. You'd like to give them the opportunity, once they're aware of it, to correct the situation.
Is it Fred Mike or Mark or Mark Fred? Or anyway, okay. I make a motion, or someone else want to make it?
I make a motion to reword the ordinance to say no parking both sides of North Green Street from the intersection of Green and Sterling Streets to the Catawba River, and including the Greenway, or sidewalk on the north side of North Green Street extending from Fleming Street to the intersection of College Street, a distance of approximately 6,250 feet.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consideration of award of contracts for the second phase of wayfinding. Sally.
Before you tonight is you have the results of the bidding process. We have talked earlier in our Main Street video about the wayfinding signage in Phase 1 that we have gotten completed and those signs installed. I think that has been a very positive change, and we have received a lot of positive feedback about that. In this year's budget, you budgeted for the second phase of that because we just haven't had enough funds to do that all in 1 year. Looking at doing signage that would be along entranceways, Carbon City Road, Jamestown Road, Independence Boulevard, and 181 North to downtown. We put that out for bid, received 4 bids. Staff has reviewed those and would recommend that you consider awarding to Creative Impressions. They are in Norcross, Georgia, and they gave us the lowest responsive bid, $86,938.25. We budgeted last year when we were guessing $75,000, but we have savings within the Main Street budget and other projects that were budgeted in there to pay the difference in this year without a budget amendment. And we checked that out with Karen.
I move we authorize a contract for services to Creative Impressions of Norcross, Georgia for the amount of $86,938.25.
I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, Ronnie was second. Any discussion?
Yes. Exactly. Is it 22 signs? That's kind of what I counted. Is that the correct number?
Michael can talk about all the details. He is intimately familiar.
24. Okay, I missed it by 2.
Yeah, because they can't hear you at home.
I believe that includes 24 signs. That includes directional signs and gateway signs, the entrance signs into Morganton and into the downtown and to the city. So it's a combination of the gateway signs and directional signs.
Okay, my other comment about it was I'm a pretty large advocate of using our demolition funds to actually do our demolition projects, and I see that we're transferring some of our funds for this, including the demolition funds, to pay for the signs.
Those were the demolition funds budgeted for the Western Piedmont building that was located next to the Arts Council, specifically for that project only. And when we got into that, we didn't have to spend everything that we thought we were going to have to spend for that. That is not the nuisance abatement money.
I know it's not, but it said demolition funds. So
I'm sure Karen will take care of that.
I'd rather have seen it, the demolition. If we use some of it for demolition, I'd rather see those funds stay in demolition, but
There.
I understand your explanation.
Okay.
And I haven't heard anything but positive comments about the existing signage.
Right,
It's
without a doubt. Okay, I don't have a motion yet. Do I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
I
do.
motion.
John
Seconded.
and Ronnie. I
And
think.
second, okay. Ronnie, did you second it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, guys, we're at the end of the road, but we've got two items that were extra items. One is consideration of Riverside Drive, Sanford Drive, 6-inch water line upgrade. Sally?
You know that for several years we have been identifying some water projects that we need to upgrade some of our older lines and to tackle those small pieces at the time so we can get them done. Bringing one to you now, and this is the one that's in this area of Sanford Drive, and it's a 6-inch water line upgrade. And we are asking you to allow us to use our budgeted capital dollars to do that this year. Informal bids were received because this doesn't meet the requirement for formal bidding. And we received 3 bids, and the lowest responsive bidder in staff's review of that was F&S Contractors, and they are of Morganton, have done work with us, $45,859.48. And those are in your current year capital dollars to do projects like this.
I move to authorize and contract with F&S Contractors of Morganton, North Carolina to perform the 6-inch water line upgrade along Riverside Drive and a new tie-in to the existing 12-inch water line along Sanford Drive.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion?
Yes. When would that work begin? When could it
As soon
begin?
as they can get them going.
Good.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Last item on the agenda is
The request from the North Carolina Division of Criminal Information, looking at the wording in our personnel administration ordinance. They have recommended a change, and what we are doing is responding to that, which basically authorizes the city to obtain criminal history records in ways that public safety would need to do that in order to do their job. And we're just complying with what DCI has requested of us for the language to say. Unless they can
So
say something
this
else.
basically says that they can check the background, criminal background on any employee.
Right. It really only affects the non-sworn employees. The sworn were already covered.
Motion to amend Part 2, Chapter 6 of the City of Morgan Code of Ordinances by adding a new subsection 5 to Section 2-6002C.
Second.
Have a motion, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you all again for the long meeting tonight, unusual, but it's good. HRC banquet, I'd like for you all to contact Kelly or Diane Stewart in HRC, as well as Ronnie Rector's reception. Don't forget.
And could I say one thing? We believe that the monopine, we've been told today that it is being delivered tomorrow, and so we should see the construction of that, and they say it's going to take 2 to 3 days. So we'll see a new tree soon.
Meeting adjourned.